Hey there, Marcin here. Ready to speed up your workflow a little bit? Today we're talking about using Photo Mechanic to streamline your image culling or selection process. You learn how to quickly sort through your shots, tag the keepers, and get everything organized before you even open Lightroom. And yep, there is a PDF guide in the description to walk you through the setup and shortcuts step by step. Let's jump in. Master your photo culling workflow with Photo Mechanic, maximize efficiency, save hours, and deliver client work faster. You guys are going to see I'm actually going to run through a couple images just so you see exactly. It's really about like the speed and not overthinking what you're doing, because the common mistake for everybody is like they go back, they go forward, they go back. It's like they spend a lot of time doing that, and that's not what I do. Typically now we kind of I have adopted the way of calling really fast, and you're gonna see what I'm doing live here in this training session. So the second slide here, why Photo Mechanic transforms culling. Lightroom limitations. So why are we doing file manipulation in Photo Mechanic first before we look into Lightroom? So Lightroom gets better over time in terms of maybe managing files, but the thing is, the biggest how Photo Mechanic sort of started and originated, when you take a file, I'm gonna try to like simplify it. So when a file is being generated onto a card in your camera, it produces like a small preview of a file. It's almost like think of it as like a tiny image inside that file. And then it has like a bigger file with all the results. The problem with Lightroom back in the day was Lightroom was actually trying to, it's attempting to load the entire file. And sometimes when you're dealing with raw files, and I'm not sure if everybody's familiar watching this, but when we capture images, they're either JPEG or RAW. And RAW files are bigger. They have so much more information. When you load JPEG files into Lightroom, it's okay. And with RAW files, Lightroom struggles. It's just it takes time to load images as you're scrolling through images. It takes time to like load them. So that's how Photo Mechanic or kind of originated. So that's why we have it. And Photo Mechanic previews, essentially Photo Mechanic is able to grab that little preview, that little image of the file. It doesn't load the entire file, but in terms of you just kind of looking at selections and working with the little previews on your screen, it's totally okay. And it's super fast. And in terms of the speed, I'm at the point right now where when I'm doing my image selections, it's probably around 1,000 images per hour. And this may sound like a lot, but once you see kind of the philosophy behind it and how I run it, you're gonna be able to understand like, oh, so it's not overthinking. It's basically eyeballing and just over time, kind of trusting your intuition that it's like what you're selecting is good. Do I sometimes go back as I do selections? Yeah, I do, but it doesn't happen often. And if it happens, it's really quick. So that's something we're gonna go through here. So again, on the slide, Lightroom limitations slows significantly with raw files, which I mentioned, and wastes precious editing time. Anywhere we can save time, that's really the name of the game. You gotta save time with image selections, with the image editing, with album design. So it's really important. Photo Mechanic advantages: previews instantly using embedded JPEGs. Those are the small images, and I already mentioned the 1,000 images per hour. So that's really what I'm gonna show you guys here. In terms of what do we do, let's switch over to the slide for a second. So I mentioned already, you get back from your event, whether you did family, portrait, corporate, weddings, you get back and first thing that you do, we had one of the training sessions when we talked about file management. If you didn't see it, I highly recommend it. Again, let me flash it for you guys. If you didn't see the episode, you can go to the group and and see it. Let me see if I can display it again, and just make sure that you join in under guides. You're gonna see the videos, but the file management in terms of backup, like what is that you need to do when you get back from the event, it's all in that other episode in the training session. Here we're only going to talk about just kind of high level. So you import and organize first. In terms of photo mechanic, like how does it kind of play into the game here? You basically import everything. You dump all images from multiple cameras into one folder. I actually had a folder that I created on my desktop, so I'll take you through it. I'll kind of show you how it works. It's an actual demo, right? Then what I do is I sort images chronologically, because a lot of times, especially when we're using 2 cameras, sometimes 3 cameras, I dump all images into one folder. So you pretty much have like 3 sets of images in there using different file names. And sometimes when you open Photo Mechanic, depending on how it's sorted, which you're going to see in a second, it's masked. So you have to make sure that everything is sorted chronologically. And then I rename files. I just kind of organize them nicely, select all files and rename numerically. We're going to go through this step, and you guys, it'll make a lot of sense then, because you're going to see how it's done inside the application. The next slide here, the selection process. So after we're like done, you now take the files from that folder, you organize them, you sort them, you rename them. That's the time when we're gonna start scanning photos, and you'll see me go through the process where I basically just eyeball my images. I think I have about 200 files that I want to go through. Maybe not all of them here in this training session, but I just want to. I basically extracted part of the workflow, an actual wedding that we did with a couple, and you guys will see sort of like what I'm doing. So we're doing the selections. We're flagging the selections. That means basically that as I'm going, I'm just hitting a key on my keyboard with a specific color, and then I mark the selections, and I don't mark the rejects. Rejects just stay on, unselected, unmarked. So and then because there's a reason for that. When in the end I have all my selections in place, I can then in Photo Mechanic filter my selections out. Basically, have Photo Mechanic now not show my selections, only shows the rejects. And within Photo Mechanic, I can literally drag my rejects into another folder. I'll talk about a reason in a second, but that's what we can do in Photo Mechanic. And then after I move my rejects out, I can remove the filter and just show my selections only. And then after I have my selections, this slide talks about like selecting only keepers. So choose your flagged selections, apply sequential numbers. So I go through this process of renaming again. Again, don't worry, don't try to memorize anything. This is something I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. And then I'm creating official files. What are official files? Official files are basically files where, so now imagine I have in a folder, I have essentially 2 folders. One is for rejects, one is for the final files. And the final files, then I create subsets for a different purpose. So there could be all the selected files are eventually going to go through the process, like in Lightroom, and we're going to edit them all in another episode. And then there's some files that are going to end up in your maybe let's say wedding highlight, right? Maybe you're doing a slideshow or something. So Photo Mechanic is really good for that, because you can flag them with either stars, or depending on which option you choose, you can select your individual images for print, for maybe social media preview, like a teaser. You can mark them for your slideshows. So all of that happens in Photo Mechanic, and that's what we do there. And then next slide here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I just say color coding for special images. depending on what it is, you can use different colors. And this way, later on, even you can come back. Maybe you want to mark your favorite images from this wedding, and then whenever, or from corporate gig or whatever you guys are doing, you can then go back, and if you have your favorite files marked, it's really easy to go back. And let's say you're doing end of the year sort of a summary, or maybe something that you need for the website, maybe you're marketing the materials. You can go back to each wedding and go back to your selections and just filter for the best images. This way you don't have to go through thousands of files at the end of the year or whenever you're running a marketing campaign. So it's super, super helpful. And then outsourcing options, we'll talk about in a second. I'm gonna actually roll back to this slide. But now I wanted to take you guys through the photo mechanic process, and this whole theory, let's put it into an actual process and see what happens there. So let's see. I'm gonna fire off my photo mechanic. Let me just switch over, and I hope it works for you guys. I'm watching it on a super small screen here, so everything is tiny. But I will go through the folders here and just kind of show you how I'm manipulating the files. Again, before I get going, later on, you guys may have some questions. So don't hesitate. If there's something that doesn't make sense or whatever, just include a question. If I don't get a chance, if I want to get a chance to answer it right now in this live session, because we're kind of time limited, I will definitely either ping you back, I can respond in the message, or I can include it in a comment if there's something else. Or if it's like a bigger question, sometimes folks ask questions that may not be related to necessarily this exact thing I'm doing. I usually slot it for another episode, for another training session. So I encourage you to leave questions if you can. Now let's take a look. So I'm looking at photo mechanic window. This is it. Like when you open it, this is the interface. And I mentioned already on my desktop here, I'm gonna try to expand. You guys see here on the left-hand side, I have a bunch of folders. I have a folder there called Photo Mechanic 6, and then the Photo Mechanic 6, it's right here. And on the screen, if I'm looking, I think I'm pointing to the right spot right now. And then bunch of like subfolders underneath here. So one folder that I'm missing, so under Photo Mechanic 6, this was created just for today's session. I have Facebook teaser folder, I have print folder, I have raw files folder, and I have slideshow. And I think we should have, can I create a folder through this interface? I never did through this interface, but let me go back to my computer quickly, and I will go back and I'll show, since I want to show you where to like put your rejects. Let's do this. I will add another folder. Let's see if Photo Mechanic will recognize it. It did. Now we created, this is a folder here. I highlighted rejects. So this is where we're going to be putting our rejects into. And let me just get this set up. All right. So Photo Mechanic 6 folder, in there I have a folder called raw. Those are raw files. Those are files that are coming from the camera. I dumped about, like I said, 200 images. They're named camera 1 and camera 2, and you guys will see what the problem with that is once the images are loaded. So when I click on this folder here, raw files, those are files from an actual wedding. And what you will see is at the very top, when I'm looking at the top row here, the file name is camera1 001. Can I blow it up? Is it going to show here for you guys? Yes. So this is the file, and at the top you can see camera1 001. I can get out of here for a second. But then as I'm scrolling down, you'll see this picture of this girl. And then when I was shooting, you can see I was moving around with the camera, then onto the dress, and then other pictures here. But if I keep scrolling down to now camera 2, so if I have an assistant, if Joanna's working with me, somebody may be shooting the same spot from a different angle, let's say, and you will see here I have images called camera 2001. And you can see the same person in this image. I know it's kind of behind my image there, but it's the same person. If I double click at the very top of the screen, you see camera 2, image 003. So you have two cameras present in the room, but as I'm viewing this in Photo Mechanic, it's kind of out of order because it's like somebody was shooting here with the same camera, but it shows right in the middle. So what happens here, what I need to do is do sorting. So first thing that I do, I open up my images. I have images from two cameras now. What we always try to do, just to backtrack a little bit, before we go to shoot a corporate or wedding or whatever we're doing that day, we always make sure that our cameras are synced in terms of time. So I always, in the morning or the day before, I go and inside each camera, I go to the time menu and I set the time. And this way we make sure that that the time is the same on those cameras. Why is that important? It's important because when we're looking at this application here, I can now mark all images, and I do a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So Command All is when I select all images. Again, Command All. I'm using Mac, but I think it's Control A on PCs. I can select all of my images, and here at the very top, I hope you guys can see it, there's a drop down. And currently, right now, it's selected to file name. So it just selects camera 1 and then numerically goes through all images, and then camera 2 and goes through all the images, right, numerically. If I change this from file name to capture time, now Photo Mechanic will pick it up and basically sort them based on the time from the actual camera. So it looks at the metadata, which is basically just information about each photo inside each photo. And then it sorts them in the right way. And you guys will see that now it doesn't start with camera 1, it starts with camera 2. So apparently camera 2 was the first one that started shooting on this day in this room. And then it goes camera 2, and it has all the images. And as I'm scrolling down, there should be, I see camera 2, and then it goes, this image is, not sure if you can see the description, but it says camera 2. And then basically the next one is camera 1. And then the next image is from camera 1, but the very next image is from camera 2. So it's nice because it's chronological now. It's like, it doesn't matter which camera it came from, because the time was set on those cameras. I can actually see what's going on, and this is exactly what happened during the day. So we're in a good place. Right now I have images sorted, so everything is chronological. I want to make sure that I'm staying on topic, so let me go back to my slides, just make sure that we're doing everything. So we've imported everything. We are sorting chronologically, and the next thing that I told you guys about was renaming files. So right now everything is sorted the way I want this thing to be sorted. I will select it again, and right now, because I don't want to lose this this view, this sort, what I will do is right-click and do rename selected photos, and this will open up this window here. And what I have to do here is make sure that I have a sequence selected. It's to the right of this window. Let me see if you guys can see it here. It's like right this check mark here. And right now there's under the sequence you have the set sequence variable, and you can basically say however you want your sequence to look like. If I wanted to put my initials like MR and then have numbers in here, I can do that. If I wanted to include my, studio information or whatever, you can do that. I simply use numbers. So unless I have a very specific reason to sort something a certain way, but I got to make sure that when, let's do it again, make sure you guys got it. So again, I'm looking at the control screen here. It's the sequence has to, you guys have to make sure that it's checked. Underneath that, you have that button, and you basically click it, and then you set up your sequence name to however you want it to appear. I'm just going to go with numbers, and I will hit reset button. And reset button right there just resets the numbers to 0001, and then I'll say okay. And once that is set, I'm gonna click on the button here that says rename, bottom right corner. And now Photo Mechanic goes through all the photos in this sorted now version, and it will rename my images from 0001 to all the way at the bottom 0352. So now this sort will never change. Whenever I go to another folder and then go back, it's not showing me camera 1, camera 2. It's showing me from 1 to 3, whatever, 100. So we're in a good shape. On the slides, we said sort, rename, and then scan. So this is kind of where the magic happens. And what I basically do is, I told you guys, I try to keep a good pace. And what I do is, I basically open the very first image, and immediately it's a reject. So there's nothing I need to do. I pick a color on my keyboard. If I hit 1, not sure if you guys can see it, the image change underneath to like green. If I hit 2, it changes to yellow. If I hit 3, it changes to green again. And 4 is blue. You get the point. So the numbers on your keyboard are just basically different colors. 5 is pink. 6 is some sort of a turquoise color. And that's really what I do. So I select one of the colors here, and in this case, rejects are not flagged. The images that I pick are flagged. So here I'm just skipping over this image. I'm not doing anything. Another reject, not doing anything. And you will see as I'm scanning through, this is an actual wedding. So like a lot of times folks think that like every single photo taken of the wedding is perfect. It is not. So you can relax. But what I do here is I go pretty fast, and I will just try to look at expressions. Does somebody have their eyes closed? That's why we overshoot. It's very common to, like, when you're shooting an event, to shoot at around 3,000 photos. Like, folks think that it's a huge number, but like if you're there for about 10, 11, 12 hours, it's not uncommon to end up with a lot of images. So this is what I do. I will select this image for right now, just mark it as my selection. Let me just make sure that the color here is reflected. Okay. Let me adjust my window a little bit because I cannot see the bottom of this window. Okay, now much better. So I'll leave this as a keeper. We'll skip this one. We'll skip this one. And you guys will see sometimes images are very similar. And it's really just, I'm eyeballing and going, yes, keeper, no. And here I see a sequence of 3. So I'll say one of them, yes. Same thing here, out of focus. I'm just skipping through. Same person standing here, keeper. And then I'm just going pretty fast. I'm actually going slower than what I would normally do. Keeper, skip, so I'm not checking. I'm gonna mark this one. Skipping, not marking anything, because it's the same basically image. And the reason why we have some images, it's really hard to take that particular photo with like holding your camera like this over the subject. So that's why you see so many repetitions, so many permutations of the same photo. But then I go here, keeper. This may be a keeper. I'm going to actually skip. We were trying to capture this effect here. I'm going to select one photo and just keep going. This is the dress from different angles. You're looking at raw files again. They're not going to look super pretty until they're all edited. Now I have group photos, and you can see like sometimes people are not paying attention. Sometimes they close their eyes. Really depends on what it is. Hey guys, we're going to pause this just for 1 second. If you're enjoying this video and the content and want more exclusive content, join our Facebook community. Inside, you'll get access to live sessions where you can actually ask questions in real time. Just scan the QR code on the screen and follow the link. Can't wait to see you there. Back to the video. Between like the 4 photos, I will probably go and select this one. And if I change my mind, I can mark this one, go back. If you ever mark an image, like I marked this one as a selection, and you want to go back and change it, unselect it, you go back and you hit 0. And 0 basically removes the flag. And then we're going to keep going. I'm not keeping anything here, nothing here. No, I'm just looking at facial expressions. This one is maybe a keeper, but I know we have plenty of more photos of that group. This one, keeper, then I'm skipping a bunch of these. I may keep another one, just maybe this one. So you'll see, like, it's almost every 10th image that gets selected, and it's not uncommon, because in the very end, in the contract, the contract will spell out how many photos the client will get, and it's usually some sort of a minimum. At least that's how I do it. So for a client, I would say you're getting minimum of 500 images. It may be 600, maybe 700. The contract says 500 after a wedding, and that's not how many the images go into an album. Usually it's about 60 or 70, but they get the edited images in the online gallery. So I'll say 500, but we usually try to go over that. 550, 600, sometimes 700. It's not uncommon. So clients they do not get all 3,000 or 4,000. They only get the selections, right? Because we think of our final images, as our product. And if they're unfinished, if client is asking for raw photos, we automatically say no, because that's not our product. Our product is something we want people to see, and we don't want people to share what you guys just saw. So anything unfinished will not make the cut, and the client will not get the images. So I'm going to continue here, keeper, and then a lot of rejects. Here I'm focusing on shoes. Didn't like this one, didn't like this one. I'm going to keep on going. Sometimes you'll see like there's a person right now with the AI in Lightroom. Super easy to remove those things, but I'm going to keep this one. There's a person in the back. Here I'm shooting a little bit of a dress, out of focus. Here's focus on dress. I'll keep this one just for ha-has for right now. I'm going to keep this one. And you will see a lot of rejects, a lot of stuff I'm skipping. Maybe I want to keep this expression, and then we'll keep going. I like this image. This one, I actually like this one. It's a wider angle. So I'm going to go back and unselect this image. And this is sort of the speed. Joanna is adjusting the dress there. I will keep this one. I don't need this one. And you'll see a lot of times, again, repetitions, the lighting is changing. This one was, the day was a little cloudy. This was a wedding we shot in Tulum, Mexico. And we had to adjust for lighting here and there. Sometimes you'll see that mess on the bottom there, bottom right corner. I will still leave the image because I can eliminate it in Lightroom with AI later. Keep going. Close up, do I care? Maybe. I'll keep this one and unselect this one. And I'm gonna keep on going. Close up of the dress. Let's keep on going. Different angle. I'll keep it. This one is. These are overexposed facial expressions. That's something I want to keep. This one I want to keep. I know this person was significant, so I'm keeping this. The details. You'll see like how many times. Sometimes a little overexposed. I'm just gonna overshoot, adjust. So I'll keep this one. Another wider shot of the dress. I'll keep it. This girl, bridesmaid, wider shot of the room, skipping those, and then I will keep on going. Maybe keep this one. If I have the same person from like different angles, a lot of times I will skip. I already know that, like, with just habitually with how I do it, I know that I will end up with about 10-15% of the images in my stack. I'll keep this one. I may keep this one and then skip a bunch of these. Just because of the facial expression, not sure I like it. So I'm going to keep on moving. Another wider shot, that's fine. This one I like this one. And that's really the speed I'm typically following with those images. And you guys will see details, rings, another one of the ring, another one of the ring. I take a lot of detail shots just because I like variety. I always say I sometimes like to even show up earlier to an event and just focus on the details, because they really do the job, especially when you do slideshow or like you're selecting images for your albums. They help tremendously, and the brides seem to love it. So I usually overshoot those, as you see. So those are all keepers. And then Bride sometimes depends. Some brides are super sensitive when it comes to like doing pre-makeup stuff, and some don't. Some simply want to just capture kind of events as they happen. Some brides are more sensitive, and they may ask you like, "Hey, don't do anything until I have my makeup on," which is totally understandable. It's a simple preference. It's not like you have to do everything the same way every time. So those are the another one here. So I'm going to select this one, skip a bunch of these. I kind of like this one. I was trying to capture like the outside, but I had no flash on to bounce. So that's what it is here. And then a little fun with the champagne. Sometimes I like to do those shots just kind of from behind people. This is the outside, girls hanging around. Some details of the girls here, and that's really, guys, the speed I'm maintaining as I'm selecting. And with that, like I said, it's about 1,000 images per hour. So if you think about it, it takes, when I said 4,000 images, it's about 4 hours that it takes, for me to go through like 4,000 images. For those of you that if you don't see yourself doing selections, guess what? There's a good news. You can outsource. There are services that will do selections for you, which is pretty cool. Same with editing. So it's like, it's actually, things have changed over the years. Like before, if you go back like 15 years, 10 years, or you had to do everything yourself. Now it's like anything from marketing to selections to image selections to image editing. You can outsource it to people. You're going to make less, but you're going to move much faster. And let me tell you, perfecting your images versus getting them to your clients faster, I think faster always wins, because in the end, they can't say how perfect the images are, but they know exactly when they got them. So that was a big lesson, especially for me. I learned it the hard way, when like you're going to get a lot of clients, start getting a lot of calls. You're eventually going to create this backlog of jobs that it's hard to recover from. So yeah, so I'm just doing a bunch of images here, some detail shots of the dress and more here. You guys get the point. This is not, I'm not actually selecting for this wedding is already done, but you kind of get the sense of the flow. And I will go through 276. Okay, a couple more here. And some adjustments, wide shots. And you guys will see, I select this one. Sometimes I go back, they blinked. I know we have more images of them in the stack, but that's really it. And then the camera looks like I was shooting this wedding with Joanna. She went and worked with the boys. So you're going to see boys getting ready. Some family shots, more detail. Oh, cufflinks. So you're gonna see this. A few images with mom and grandma, and more stuff of the boys. And you guys will see in a second. I'm looking at my count 300. You'll see that I'm not sure how long it took us to like go through those images, but we're almost at the end. So this is kind of how it works. But you'll see, funny that I stopped in this image, but you'll see that I'm almost at the very end. So now when I close this window, again, how do I open this up? How do I close this? So if I'm in Photo Mechanic and I click on an image, double click, it opens up this window with the preview, and I see the images at the bottom. There's a way you can adjust it. You can put it to the side, top, bottom. I keep it at the bottom. But then if you want to get out of it, you just hit escape. It's both on PC and Mac. So again, if you want to open it up, double click. If you want to get out of it, escape. But now, once I'm looking at the original sort, and you guys will see I'm very close to the bottom. It's image 325, and we had 352. So like we literally did together 350 images. So like, can you do 100 images in an hour? Definitely. Like even when you're starting, you're probably going to be at about 60 and an 80, 100, probably over 100. And it doesn't require like I want you to think of it this way. This is not editing, not something you got to be like you have to overthink or or go deep on. It's literally eyeballing, going back, marking your flag, and moving forward, right? And once we have the images selected, the very next step, I got to confirm with our slide deck here, because this is the slide we were looking at before. So scan quickly, flag selections, we did those. Move rejects. What do we do with the reject? We go back to Photo Mechanic, and in Photo Mechanic, you guys will do the following. So let me see if I see everything. Okay, so at the very top here, you have the, if you're looking at the window, it's right over my head somewhere. The arrow shows the color swatches, right? So in this case, I was selecting using this lime green, right? So what I will do is I actually want to hide my selections, and I'll tell you why. So in a second. So I'm going to hit on that color, and you'll see that there's really no more selections here unless I again go back and kind of unfilter them again. So what I want to do is hide my selections for now. I will hide the selections. I will do Control A, which is I'm gonna select all. And if you don't know the keyboard shortcuts, you can go in your file menu under Edit and just do Select All. So that's just another way of doing it. But again, Control All or Command All on Mac. And what I want to do is I want to click on one of the images here, and literally you guys will see like it shows a little preview of like bunch of stack of images with a number. In my case, it says 276. And I want to go and drag it while holding the button. I want to drag it to my rejects. And that's it. This is how you remove your, what happened? Did it disappear? Oh no, we got it back. This is how you move your rejects to a rejects folder. If I hit on my rejects now, this is on the preview window. I think it's right about there. I'm gonna highlight it for you guys. This is where I have my rejects folder. So you have to drag your images or the selections to the rejects. If I go back to raw, where my original images were, and unfilter, now all I have are my selected images. So hopefully that makes sense. If something doesn't make sense, leave a comment below and I'll try to do it again. But basically I have all my selections here. I see at the bottom of the screen in the left corner there, it says 76 in my case right now. So out of 300 and something images, I've selected 76. That's a pretty high number. Like like I said before, depending on, how careful, we overshoot a lot. I rather delete files than not have enough files. That's just a philosophy. If it works for you, it works for us. Hopefully it'll work for you. But right now I have 76 files. Those files then go to Lightroom. I don't load all the 4,000 images, only my selections. As I mentioned before, in my case, it could be anywhere from 400, 500, 600 images. But before I go into Lightroom and start playing with Lightroom, I'm basically selecting files again, and I want to rename them because now after I got rid of my rejects, the file numbers are not in the sequence. There's like 4, 6, 10, 14, 19, right? I want to make sure that I rename them again. So I'm doing the same process, right-clicking, selecting them all. Sequence is already there. I just got to make sure that I hit set sequence variable because I have to reset it to 0. And then you hit reset here, okay, and then rename again. And right now you have your final selection of all the images, and they're renamed from 1 to 76, hopefully, yep. And this is then something that you're going to be importing. We're going to talk about, there's going to be a separate session for Lightroom. So I'm going to show you what we're doing in Lightroom, but in Photo Mechanic, this is really it. You're doing your selections, you're renaming your files, and now your final selection is ready to be imported. Now, I mentioned the final files, like there are different sets. What I meant by that is you can come here, and if you have your favorite photos, let's say, that you want to use for a slideshow, or maybe you're printing few photos, maybe maybe you're doing your album selections within your set of, let's say, 400, 500 images. If you're doing family session and maybe you only have, you know, 60 photos is like your final selections, and now you only deliver a few to a client, you can come back here and say, okay, now I just want to select a couple images that I want to maybe preview on Facebook or Instagram. I go back here to my final selections, and at the top here, hopefully you guys can see it, there's like a little slider. I will move that slider all the way up so the images are like pretty large. I'll actually, for this one, I want to see 3 at the same time. So it's just a matter of playing with the slider, making sure it's in the right spot. But now I can see it better. I can actually see some details, and I will go ahead and select a different color and say, oh, for like my preview on Facebook or something, I'm going to use a different color. Let's go with pink. So I'm using a different number key on my keyboard, and I go and like, okay, I'll preview that photo. Maybe I'll grab one here with the shoes, the details. And then I want to get like a group photo that I would like to preview. I will get the shoes. I will get the rings. I will show the outside maybe. I want to include kids. And I will just do like a quick scan and a quick family photo, and maybe I want to do something with the boys. So let's show this image and getting ready, and maybe this one. And that's really maybe one of a bride here for fun. So I will mark those as with a different color, and this way it's the same thing we did before. If I would like to now just move those photos to another folder, I can hide all the green ones. And now you have all the images that I would like to highlight as like a teaser on social media, let's say. And same deal. So what I would do here is select those that I have selected again, and you can drag them. But the problem here is if you drag it to another folder now, you're gonna move them out of your final selection. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure we copy photos, right? In this instance. So I would click here and use copy move. And in this case, you are interested in, let me see, I got to make sure I got this setting that you guys can see it. There is an option here, this folder, where you can click on those 3 dots. I will click it on those 3 dots, and it will basically ask me like, hey, which folder do you want to move those photos to? So in this case, I have them on my desktop in Photo Mechanic folder, and I'll say, this is my Facebook teaser photos, and I'll do open and then say copy, and Photo Mechanic already did the copy. It disappeared before. I'm not sure it kind of does this weird thing, but it'll come back in a second. Okay, so now what happens is if I unfilter the green ones, I have all my selections, I have all my pink ones, let's say favorite photos, that I can always come back to. And if I go to the left here and select my Facebook teaser photos, you guys will see that like only the selected from the second selection photos moved into this folder. Super helpful because you have your final selection always there in the same folder, and then you have your additional selections, whether it's Facebook preview, whether it's print, whether it's slideshow, or whatever else you may be using. So so that's really it for Photo Mechanic. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this information with you for free. And the best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel, obviously, or liking the video or leaving a comment below. Your support means the world to me. And if you have enjoyed the content, make sure to check out the next video suggested on the screen. See you there.